What up, gang? Carolina Jackpot time coming at you on Monday afternoon. I hope everybody is doing good today, and I hope you guys are having a good one. A lot of changes going on in college football, and we are in conference championship game week. Where are Gamecocks at? What day do they play? Oh, that's right, they don't play. They don't have a bowl game either. Shit. We're going to talk about the off season, and we're going to talk about specifically the transfer portal. We're going to talk about what I'd like to see. We're going to talk about rebuilding these rosters and this team. But before we get into that, if you're new around here, stay true around here, consider subscribing to the Carolina Jackpot channel and hit the thumbs up on this video if you enjoy the content that you see here today. Special shout out to everyone who watched the video yesterday. I put up about a 30-minute long video just kind of summing up the ugly loss to Clemson. My thoughts on Shane Beamer, the head coaching position. The last time I looked, man, it was like, I think at about 7,000 people had watched that video. Tons and tons of positive comments come through on that video. A lot of them I have read and hearted. Some of them I've read and actually hearted and responded to. Some of them I have not been able to read yet, because when you get hundreds of comments on a video, it gets tough when it gets to that many. I'm going to try to get through that and either read them and respond to them, or at least read them and let you know that I saw it. I truly appreciate everybody who takes the time to watch these ridiculous videos that I put out all the time, and you're troopers for doing so. So, looks like Kentucky has went on ahead and fired Mark Stoops. This was a move, it kind of hit you out of left field, because we kind of thought Stoops was safe after he beat Florida and Auburn. And then he had a win over Tennessee Tech. Then, though, he goes out, which he had been on the hot seat during the season. And I think coming into the season, he was on the hot seat after a 4-8 year last year. And then he starts losing a bunch of ball games this year. The offense is struggling. You know, they can't seem to really get anything going in their conference games. He was on the hot seat, kind of got himself off of it with those wins, but looking back at it, those were wins over some pretty bad teams, over teams that ended up firing their coaches. In fact, it was the Kentucky loss that ended up getting old Hugh Freeze booted out of Auburn. Well, I mean, that wasn't all that got him booted out. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. But they went on ahead and fired him after a 41-0 loss to Louisville on Saturday. I mean, you just can't. I think by the time that game kicked off, I think the line on it had actually flipped. And I think that Kentucky was actually the favorite in that ball game. You just can't go out and lose to your rival like that, who's playing their fourth string running back 41-0. So they parted ways with him. Probably a good decision to do so. So obviously Kentucky cares somewhat about having a winning football program. You know, does Jeremiah Donati care about having a winning football program at the University of South Carolina? Do the big money donors care about having a winning program at the University of South Carolina? I think they want one, and I think they're giving Shane Beamer more time and more time, because they think that somehow, hoping against hope, that he can straighten this thing out. This new offensive coordinator hire's got to be the thing. This has got to be the one. This has got to be the one that nails it, right? It ain't gonna happen, y'all. We are kicking a can down the road in every single sense of that saying. But since we know he ain't going anywhere, so looking at this offensive coordinator hire, if he wants to save his job, he's got to nail this thing. Now, am I talking about going out and making a national championship level OC hire? I mean, obviously not. We're coming off of a damn 4-8 season, so we're lucky with whatever we can get. But talks that I've seen, the names that seem to be coming up the most is John David Baker, the OC at East Carolina right now, who actually worked at Ole Miss a couple of years ago under Lane Kiffin as kind of like a co-offensive coordinator, and the offensive coordinator, last name Decker, I can't remember, Kevin Decker maybe, at Old Dominion, ODU, which had a pretty successful season this year. No, they're not going to be in contention for their conference championship game because they play in the Sun Belt and they play in the same side. That one's still divided up into East and West divisions. It's one of the only, I think it is the only conference that still does so. And they're in the side with James Madison. And y'all know all about James Madison. Bob Chesney, just an absolute wagon. So they're not going to get there, but they still had a successful season. I've watched some of both of these teams play, probably a little bit more of East Carolina than Old Dominion because they've been on a couple of Thursday night games. They've been on a Friday night game. I've watched them. They're finished up 8-4 and have had a really good offense this year. And I kind of looked into that a little bit. And what's interesting about them is both of them have quarterbacks who are playing at a pretty decent level. Both of them have quarterbacks who do have some eligibility left with them. The quarterback at East Carolina, Caton Hauser, he is a senior, but I'm looking back at his stats. He did not play hardly at all in 2022, which would have been as a freshman. So that means this kid should have a red shirt. He should be eligible to play in 2026 if he wants to. Is this guy the potential hire for South Carolina? Could he potentially bring this kid with him to Columbia to be a quarterback? Now, it looks like he's more of a, he's going to be more of a pro-style quarterback. I don't know if it's like a Spencer Rattler type quarterback, but it looks like that's what this kid is. He's thrown for about 3,300 yards this year. I think 19 touchdowns and maybe 6 interceptions, which I don't really like that a lot. That's kind of loose with the football, but it's better than what we've got right now. And then you look at Kevin Decker at East Carolina. He has a quarterback, Colton Joseph, who's actually only a sophomore. Both these kids, coincidentally, are from California. Now, Colton Joseph is more of a dual threat type quarterback. And I was watching their offense run, and it looked to me like, man, I'm like, that's what Lenora Sellers should be doing right now. This guy was actually shredding up, I think it was Troy, who's actually played in the Sun Belt Championship game. But Old Dominion went out and wore out Troy in that game that I watched. Why do I say all this about transfer portal quarterbacks? Because I think Lenora Sellers is gone. I think he's going to hit the transfer portal. I think he's going to take a bag, and I think he's gone. And guys, I don't know with him. I think that whoever's getting him is kind of getting some damaged goods. He's not played well this year. I know we can talk all we want to about the offensive line, but the offensive line was playing better after about the Oklahoma game on. That unit started playing a little bit better. He didn't really play a whole lot better. I caught a little bit of flack for what I said about him throwing that pick six on Saturday against Clemson, the one that sealed the deal there. And that, it's a freaking boneheaded play by him. They were like, whoop, it bounced off Nick Harbor's hands. This is true, and that's on Nick Harbor, too. This guy's a third year in the program wide receiver. He ought to be able to haul in passes. However, Sellers is still, from what I can see, and I'm not a coach, but he's holding on to the ball too long, and he's getting these safeties drawn up on him, and he's throwing into double and sometimes even worse than that coverage on some of these throws, and he's getting them picked off. That was a poor decision there by him, however you want to slice it, dice it, and fillet it. So I think he's probably going to hit the portal. He didn't show a whole lot of moxie or heart, if you just want me to come out and be real with you on Saturday. And I think that Cade Klubnik did. It was a total 180 from what we saw in last year's game. Like it or not, that is what Carolina Jackpot saw. Now, Cade Klubnik made the plays to ultimately win the game. The defense ultimately won it for him, but he still took care of business. So you're going to need something there. Running back wise, you're probably going to need to bring in somebody else there just to open up competition a little bit more. I know that Oscar Attaway and Rasul Faison, both those guys are done. They're out of eligibility. Can't play anymore. Of course, we knew that about Rasul. Obviously, offensive line does have something to do with that, but he was disappointing for all of the hype, the hoopla surrounding him, and all the pageantry that surrounded getting him to Columbia. He really didn't do anything to crank my tractor this year, and he didn't do anything to crank any of y'all's tractor a whole lot there. So, but I mean, nothing but good wishes to the young dude. I mean, he's had a heck of a story. He had a heck of a rough time getting just to be able to play football in the collegiate level. So, I mean, I hope everything does work out for him. Wide receiver wise, if you can hold on to this core that you've got, most of these guys are underclassmen. If Harbor leaves, you've still got a large core there. I think Dre Jacobs is the future of that room. That guy's still got some more eligibility left there. We saw that the other day. Maybe you go out and add one more piece there, but you've got some kids too that signed in that 2025 class that have yet to see the field. So they're probably in the midst of getting developed. I don't think Mike Furry stands any chance of getting the OC position. Does the new OC keep him on as the wide receivers coach still? Hard to say. I don't know. Those guys, you saw some development from them. Is he really, is there really a whole lot of change there from what we used to see with Justin Stepp and back when he was coaching the wide receivers? I mean, not really. I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot of change there. I don't think they're a whole lot better or worse off. So offensive line wise, you do have some young talent coming in. There's some young talent on that offensive line right now. You're going to lose a couple of them. I still say you need to portal a couple of pieces in there, especially for some depth. I do think that unit played a lot better after the Oklahoma game this year, but it wore down. You need some depth pieces, as we saw at the end of the game against Clemson. The unit got tired, it got ragged, and that's when you started giving up sacks and protection started breaking down. That was an issue. Kicking game wise, I mean, I'm not even sure if William Joyce can come back next year. And he's even started to. I hadn't dove into that one. I know Mason Love will be back. He's done a heck of a job this year. Joe DeCamillis, this guy is not the special teams coach that Pete Limbo was, and that special teams unit in all phases was kind of lethal. When Limbo was with us, this guy, he's got NFL experience and that, but this guy's not really, he's not really moved the needle a whole heck of a lot there with the special teams. Defensive wise, defensive line, you're going to lose Nick Barrett, you lose Monkel Goodwine up front. You probably need to bring a piece or two in here to shore up that. I know you're recruiting, and I'm not even really talking about the players that are recruiting that they're bringing in right now, because those are kind of moot points. We're talking about freshmen that are going to be coming in. They shouldn't be making a huge impact. Remember what they do have Xavion Hardy. This kid was a beast in junior college. He should be getting developed and ready to go for next year. I like the linebackers, Justin O, Sean Murphy, Fred Johnson. I think that unit played a little bit above what they probably thought that it was going to play this past season. They need to continue to progress and get better there. In the backfield, I think about everybody's going to be back in the defensive backfield, with the exception of DQ Smith. You probably need to bring some more portal pieces in there to shore that unit up a little bit as well. They didn't have their best game in Carolina Jackpot's opinion, on Saturday afternoon against the Taters. Just being real with you, they gave up some real soft ass coverages there that kind of got Clemson some yards there on the outside. So that unit needs to improve. We need to see some more out of them, but it's just going to be interesting to see that we don't know who's going to portal out. We don't know, who's going to be available in the portal. Obviously, it doesn't officially open until January the 2nd. It stays open from the 2nd through the 16th. But players can announce that they're going to get into it at any point in time. Up until then, we also got National Signing Day coming up. From what I'm understanding, everybody that's on schedule to sign with the Gamecocks is supposed to still be on board. Given the season that we had, I got to compliment this coaching staff on that. I think they did a heck of a job keeping that together. I think we did have one decommitment that ended up heading back to Florida State. He was originally committed there, maybe running back, whose name escapes me, but they've got a lot of work to do here this offseason. If they can bring in an offensive coordinator, it doesn't have to be a sexy hire. It needs to be a hire that works. And it needs to be a hire that has the ability to, we need to bring in some talent. We've got to portal some talent in, and that's just the way that it is. It's becoming a game of who can you bring in, and who do you have enough money, and who can you budget to bring in right now. Development obviously is still paramount, but it's becoming like a little bit seemingly less and less talked about is development, right? Because, all we talk about is who we're bringing in and what can they add to the fold. And I'm talking about bringing them in from the portal, not bringing them in from high school. So this is a crazy game. It's going to be a crazy offseason for South Carolina. And Shane Beamer has... He's if there is any inkling there of being a good coach and a good program builder in his body, it's gonna have to show up this offseason in a major way, or we're gonna be sitting here this time next year talking about who the new head coach is, and heck, he may not even make it that long, may not even make it to the end of the year. It may be one of those Will Muschamp deals. So, anyway, let me know your thoughts about that down in the description box, or the comment box below, the description box. I'm the one that fills that out, not you. Anyway, and I'll see you guys later on. I appreciate you very much. Peace, and I'm out of here. Go Gamecocks.